In this video, you will discover why mid-form content is the best way to get coaching clients without posting on social media. Hello, my name is Anthony Winery.
I'm Ty Gaucher.
And over the last 3 years, we've generated over $1 million with our coaching business. We help online coaches attract dream clients into their business without posting on social media through 15-minute solo podcasts.
So in this video, you'll discover what mid-form content is and why it solves the biggest problem coaches are facing right now when trying to get clients online.
The hidden in plain sight problem with short-form content for getting clients.
And finally, how a small group of coaches and consultants are using mid-form content to attract dream clients without posting on social media.
So look, here's the problem. Content isn't working for you. You're working so hard, but you're not rolling in new clients. The cash isn't coming in, and it all just doesn't feel right.
Hence this dog in the burning room, which may or may not be how you feel posting on LinkedIn, Instagram, or anywhere else every day, trying to get clients. Now, you have experienced that time, maybe many times, when someone found you through your content and was easily sold, they were warm to you, they were excited to meet you, they even referenced certain frameworks or things you say. They were basically a fan and they were ready to pay, and you just think, oh, if I could attract more people like this, things would be great. This is what we call a dream client.
Now, you can attract more of them, but only if you have and produce content that, one, is sustainable for you, and two, allows you to attract enough of the right people.
So here's what 99% of experts default to as their chosen content vehicles. Number one, short form content.
Long form content.
Or just not doing it at all.
No content at all.
So let's talk about short form content for a moment. Now, people talk about doing short form content to grow your reach.
They do.
But this only grows your reach when you dumb down your expertise.
Don't want to be doing that.
To the point where it removes any aspect of trust building.
Definitely don't want to be doing that.
Not to mention the doom scrolling mindset people are actually in when they see the content.
The doom scrollers.
That could be a whole nother episode. But for now, I think we've addressed why this is a problem. But here's what this really means for you. Now imagine you are this woman here. That is you, the expert, the coach, the consultant. And this big magic ball is your brilliance, you know? It's the depth of your expertise, the nuance of your expertise, the ability to personalize and guide people through transformations in your subject of expertise. It's not easy to put your finger on, hence it's this magic ball, right? There are a lot of indefinables, there's a lot of nuance, there's a whole load of context that makes you so good at what you do. Yet as you can see, we're here exerting force, really trying to stuff, shove, cram it into this printer, which only prints out this very flat, underwhelming thing on the other end, which is the short form content. Did that land?
It did land, and we get tons of clients who we speak to on a day-to-day basis who've mentioned that's exactly what posting on social media feels like. You end up with this boring, flaccid 2D drawing that has no excitement to it, sucks all the soul out of the fun energy you had prior to posting the content.
And overall, doesn't do your expertise any justice. Now, that's what it means for you trying to convey your expertise online through short-form content. But this is one side of the equation. The other side is, well, what does that mean for the person on the receiving end, the prospect that sees that and consumes it? How does that work from their end?
There are multiple things going on in this image. You have a doom scroller who's not in the right mind at all, going online, searching for content to keep them distracted, content to entertain them, content that, quite frankly, is there to scroll away their time, to have their brain rot, which apparently is now trendy to say, by the way. It's now trendy to brain rot. Anyways, the point being, not to talk about the fact that you are now competing in a space where there are millions of other creators, experts, posting content, fighting for the attention of this flaccid doom scroller right here.
So look, short form content isn't an effective option for experts and coaches to build a personal brand that actually attracts clients.
It forces you to compress your expertise and finds prospects while they're doom scrolling, which prevents them from being able to build trust with you.
Now that's short form content. Well, what about long form content?
Well, with long form content, we're talking about content that's more than 60 minutes in length.
Now, this is widely regarded as a very, very good way to build trust and therefore nurture prospects and can work for online coaches and experts. And that's true. I mean, look at this stat from Lupix Digital. Well, for example, podcast hosts, which of course is one of the most notable long-form content, rank just below friends and family in recommendation trust. Meaning when it comes to how much the prospect trusts what they're hearing, Podcasts outrank every other marketing channel under friends and family. They outrank influencers, celebrities, media personalities. No other marketing channel gets as close as podcasting does to a personal recommendation from friend and family.
Out of 4 million podcasts, only 357,000 had released a new episode in the last 30 days, which means that over 90% of podcasts that start actually quit.
Wow. Now, after having worked with over 300 business owners who do have a podcast, we have a unique insight on why that is and why most business owners fail at long-form content, even though it is a great way to build trust. Now, firstly, the very, very simple answer is it's not as sustainable as people think, and there's a lot more work that goes into it than people think. You can see here this mountain, and we have at the top of the mountain is the production, the release of a 60-minute episode. But there's actually around 9 hours on average that goes into that of course, most people don't know about and don't prepare for. You have the preparation, the recording, the scheduling, the admin, the production of the episode, distributing it, promoting it. And simply put, most business owners don't realize that this is such a mountain. It doesn't look like this or feel like this when you only see the finished product. Most people are not aware that this much goes into it. They fail to prepare for this kind of workflow and this kind of commitment when doing long form, and therefore prepare to fail and eventually do fail, hence the stat of 90% of podcasts quitting. Now, that's on the side of it's difficult for you as the creator of the podcast or the long form content to keep up with. That's one half of the equation. The other half of the equation is, well, what about on the side of the prospect? How does long form content fare in terms of getting a prospect who hasn't heard of you to then consume that long form content and actually build the trust with you?
Well, if you imagine that the prospects you're trying to reach, they haven't heard of you before, are they really going to risk and gamble an hour of their time to invest in a show and a podcast host they don't know, like, and trust? It's a pretty big ask. They'll give you the old no thank you. And instead, they'll rather listen to one of their favorite shows if they've got a new episode released versus your show, that's 60 minutes. They don't know, like, and trust you. They're always going to pick the show that's familiar to them.
So with this all said, long form content isn't a realistic option for most experts and coaches to build a personal brand and attract clients.
It's extremely long to create and even harder to convince a total stranger to listen to you in the first place.
So let's summarize so far. We know that short form content is not a very good option. We know that long form content, it's also not a very good option. Well, what if there was something more in the middle, something around the 15-minute mark? Maybe that would be the sweet spot.
Just maybe. Now, what would this be called?
This would be called
mid-form content. Okay, all right. Got SpongeBob looking smiley and happy as always. And I get it. Mid-form content really is the middle ground between the two extremes of short form and long form content.
Let's have a look at why this is. So here's why mid-form content is the best way to get coaching clients without social media from a creation standpoint, so from your own standpoint. Now, while 30 seconds short form content is not good for you from the creating standpoint because it's like trying to shove your magic into this tiny printer that just prints out a piece of paper on the other end. And long form content is you're walking up a mountain once a week, which, don't get me wrong, can be a fun challenge to do as a one-off, but probably not once a week. Mid-form content at that 15-minute mark, it actually works for you. We know, having helped over 300 business owners with mid-form content, tends to work for people really well because when it comes to sharing your expertise and not compressing yourself, 15 minutes is more than enough time to get your full opinion across with the nuances. But at the same time, you're not walking up a mountain every week just to get the content out. It's 4 times as short, meaning it requires 4 times less effort to create, not to mention the fact that at the 15-minute mark, most business owners opt for a solo podcast rather than a guest interview podcast, which actually removes a lot more admin and preparation time, scheduling and talking to someone else. It's much more easy to create because it's also on your own terms as well as shorter. Now, that makes it easier for you, but here's why mid-form content is also the best way to get coaching clients without social media from the prospect standpoint as well.
So like we mentioned, with 30-second clips, you're attracting doom scrollers who aren't engaging on social media with their best minds. Again, it's too short to build a like, know, and trust with these doom scrollers. Whereas with 60 minutes of long-form content, that's way too long for a total stranger to invest their time and gamble on a new host, you being that new host. Whereas with 15 minutes, that really is the sweet spot where it's the perfect length of time that a prospect can give your show a shot and try it out for the first time. But it's also long enough to where they can build that like, know, and trust with you, which isn't possible with 30-second clips on social media.
So let's summarize. In this video, you've discovered that short form content isn't an effective vehicle for experts and coaches.
It forces you to compress your expertise.
And then it finds prospects while they're doom scrolling.
Now, at the same time, even though long form content builds deep trust, it isn't the most realistic for most coaches who aren't prepared for the mountainous workflow and quit.
Not to mention that convincing a stranger who doesn't know you or your brand yet to commit 60 minutes to listen to you over just their favorite show, someone they already know, is a hell of an uphill battle.
Whereas mid-form content really is that sweet spot, is the new way, the best way to attract dream clients into your business, because it's short enough for you to stay consistent and long enough to express your expertise.
And short enough to invite a stranger in while long enough to still build good trust with them.
So look, if you're an online coach struggling to land high ticket clients using social media, and you want a different way to build trust with your audience that doesn't require you to keep on the content hamster wheel or become the next Joe Rogan, then mid-form content through 15-minute solo podcast is the perfect thing for you. If you want to see how smart coaches are currently using this to land 10K plus clients, then feel free to check out this case study that we did of David. There's going to be somewhere on the screen that breaks down exactly how he accomplished this using a 15-minute solo podcast.